Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if nutrition is that one thing that just keeps tripping you up, I promise you're not alone. Today, we're really diving into some super fascinating insights about the mechanics of fat loss and how we actually build habits. Honestly, what we're going to cover might completely flip how you approach your daily eating. So let's jump right in and see what the data actually tells us. So I gotta ask you this right out of the gate. Why do you keep falling off your diet? Seriously, we've all been there, right? You start a fresh new plan on a Monday, you've got the absolute best intentions, and then inevitably the wheels just completely fall off. It's so frustrating. It makes you feel like you just lack willpower. But here's the thing, the evidence actually shows it's probably not a willpower issue at all. It's an issue of how our brains adopt new habits.
92%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering percentage of dietary plans that people completely abandon by day 10. And why is it so high? Well, it's because the rules of those diets are just perceived as way too rigid. You feel like you absolutely have to be perfectly on point every single meal, and the minute real life happens and you can't follow that script exactly, you just throw your hands up and quit.
But what's really wild here is the actual adoption curve of a new habit. Did you know that almost 80% of a new habit's adoption is locked in by day 10? Yeah, 80%. That means if you can just survive that initial 10-day window without throwing in the towel, you are practically at the finish line. The secret? You just have to build a plan that is flexible enough to make sure you actually survive those first 10 days.
Okay, moving into section 1, the paradigm shift, nutrition beats exercise.
To get us to that crucial 10-day finish line, we seriously need a complete paradigm shift regarding how we look at body composition. Look, you might go into the gym and absolutely crush it for 1 hour. And hey, that is fantastic for building muscle. But for fat loss, it is entirely about what you are doing for those other 23 hours outside the gym. Your commitment level during those 23 hours dictates your success so much more than that 1 hour of sweating it out.
Literally 99% of changing your body fat hinges purely on how you eat. It turns out even the most intense, grueling workout is not going to create a massive calorie deficit if your diet is a total mess behind the scenes. Plus, let's be real, most of us just can't sustain that elite-level workout intensity every day anyway. Nutrition is where this battle is actually won or lost.
Which brings us to section 2, building your flexible framework.
The absolute beauty of a flexible framework is that it really doesn't matter if you prefer keto, if you're carnivore, vegan, or just like a balanced approach. The underlying structure is what actually matters, and that structure starts with what we call the protein anchor. Whenever you kick off that critical 10-day window we talked about, protein has got to be the anchor that grounds your daily eating. It dictates how your meals are structured, it protects all your hard-earned muscle, and it guides your total food intake for the day.
Now, calculating that anchor is surprisingly easy, and it just depends on your specific goals. Say your goal is gaining muscle and you weigh 150 pounds. Aiming for about 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight works really well, so you target 180 grams. If you're focused on fat loss, let's say you're 220 pounds, you'd aim for 1 gram per pound, bringing you to 220 grams. And if you're just looking for simple maintenance, that number drops significantly lower. You literally just do the simple math for your own body weight and your specific goal, and boom, your anchor is set.
But why the obsession with hitting this specific protein number? Well, first off, protein is highly satiating, meaning you're not going to be starving and craving junk all day. It also has a really high metabolic cost. Your body is actually burning calories just trying to break it down. But most importantly, when you are eating less to lose fat, protein is the shield that ensures you are actually burning fat and not burning away the vital muscle mass that gives your body its shape and metabolism.
Right, let's look at section 3, the 9 o'clock/9:20 flexible plate.
Okay, so once you have your daily protein number, how do you actually build a meal without getting totally stressed out by rigid rules? Imagine you're looking down at your dinner plate, like it's a clock face. You draw one line right at 9 o'clock and another line down at 9:20. That big large space on the right side of the clock, that is grounded by your protein anchor. The remaining space on the left side is then divided up between fibrous carbs, think your green leafy vegetables, and your starchy carbs, like your rice or your potatoes. This simple visual completely eliminates the need for strict, rigid, miserable food lists.
Now, when it comes to those starchy carbs, it is so easy to panic if your meal plan says rice, but you open the pantry and all you have is pasta. But look at the math here. A cup of rice is roughly 210 calories, pasta is 220, and sweet potatoes are 190. That maximum 30-calorie difference, it's barely 1% of a typical 2,500-calorie diet. It is literally a non-factor. Just swap them out. Seamless flexibility is exactly how you survive those first 10 days.
And honestly, it really exposes the absolute absurdity of modern diet culture when you look at fibrous carbs. You might read some blog that says bok choy has half the calories of broccoli. Okay, sure, that sounds like a big deal, until you realize 2 cups of bok choy is 30 calories and 2 cups of broccoli is 60 calories. We are talking about a 30-calorie rounding error. People literally abandon their entire diets because they can't find bok choy at the grocery store, convinced that eating broccoli will somehow ruin their progress. Just eat the vegetables you actually like.
Now, the only place you really need to be just a little bit careful with your food swapping is with your protein sources. And that's because of the second anchor, fat. 10 ounces of grilled chicken is about 450 calories, right? But 10 ounces of salmon or steak jumps way up to around 600 to 650 calories. The protein density is really similar between them, but that extra fat content changes the total calories pretty dramatically. But even here, guys, no need to panic. You literally just shrink the portion size of the steak a little bit to match the total calories you would have had with the chicken. See? Flexibility is perfectly preserved.
Next up, Section 4, Timing Your Eating Window.
So, we know exactly what to eat and how to comfortably swap foods around. But when you eat, that is entirely up to you. Your schedule is incredibly customizable. Whether you work from home and you prefer grazing 5 times a day, or maybe you're in a super strict corporate setting, or studying at school and you prefer a condensed 8-hour or even a 4-hour eating window, it doesn't matter. You can cleanly expand or contract your eating window to perfectly fit your unique 24-hour day.
But hey, there is one absolutely vital practical tip you've got to keep in mind here. If you do choose a really short eating window, say just 4 hours, and then you try to eat massive mountains of high-volume, low-calorie vegetables like broccoli, your stomach physically will not be able to handle it. You are going to end up way too full to actually hit your protein anchor and your daily caloric needs, which is a big problem, especially if you're trying to build muscle. So just make sure to adjust your food density to match whatever time window you choose.
And finally, Section 5. Consistency creates automaticity.
At the end of the day, all of this flexibility ultimately serves one single purpose, and it really just comes down to a simple 3-step blueprint. Step 1. Pick a healthy dietary preference you actually enjoy eating. Step 2. Use that flexible 920 plate and your trusty protein anchor to survive those critical first 10 days without feeling restricted. Step 3. Once you confidently breeze past that day 10 threshold, you achieve automaticity. It literally stops being a diet and just becomes your normal daily habit. You build incredible long-term momentum completely effortlessly.
There is this fantastic quote from the source material that sums this whole concept up perfectly. Do the thing that makes you happy, successful, and gives you consistency. The absolute best diet in the world is utterly useless if you hate it and you quit by Thursday. The true, perfect plan is simply the one that gives you the flexibility to repeat it day after day after day.
Which leaves us with this final, really important thought to ponder today. Moving forward, are you going to continue choosing those rigid, punishing rules that statistically set up massive roadblocks by day 10? Or will you finally embrace this protein-anchored, flexible consistency that actually offers a sustainable path forward? The choice is entirely yours. But hey, now you have the exact framework to make it work. Thanks so much for learning with us on this explainer, and we will catch you next time.